Oh, good stuff. Kalimera, kalispera, kalinikta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It is a new week. It is a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures and let's tell football stories with 5 Arsenal fans. Let's rock and roll, squaddies.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The net's going to cause buggery. Good evening. Happy Monday to everyone. For those listening on our audio platforms, Apple and Spotify, thanks also for making us part of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. And for those listening on replay, which many of you will, don't forget to have your voice heard in our YouTube comments. We're doing something a little bit different tonight, an unusual hour, but here we are. For those joining in live chat, thank you so much as well. I have a cast of characters here with me this evening. And firstly, at ease, squaddies at ease. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. So a couple of these faces you will know already, and a couple will be brand new to you. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go around the clock here and have everyone introduce themselves and let them know what part of the world you're in as well. Let's start off with a familiar face, top left, top bins. Marky, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a while. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
And for those that don't know who you are and where you're from.
So I am from just outside West London. It takes about an hour and a half to get to the Emirates. And also you can find me on the North Bank lower as a season ticket holder.
Very nice. Well done. Welcome back, Marky. And don't forget to listen to our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels. We're close to that 20K. So come on, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well. Right there, smack bang in the middle, rocking a green shirt is MK. MK, let the kids know where you're from.
Hi, I'm MK. I'm from Los Angeles. And yeah, this is the new goalkeeper kit. I wasn't sure if it was mint green. It turns out it's Irish green, which is perfect because that's my heritage. So, yeah.
Absolutely love it. You're looking great in it as well. Top right-hand corner is Mr. Brett Leverton. Brett, are we popping your Highbury Squad cherry here?
You are indeed, yeah. And YouTube video. I do a little podcast on audio only, but yeah, it's first time on video. I'm based down in Bournemouth. Been an Arsenal fan since '93. Season ticket holder for over 11 years now. Yeah, so.
Welcome to the show as well. Bottom left over there is Ehis. Welcome. Now, you have been on the show on one of our fan shows before, haven't you, Ehis?
Yes, I've been on the show 3 years ago, actually, 2022.
2022. And tell everyone where in the world you are tonight.
Yeah, from Lagos, Nigeria. The city that owns the largest Arsenal fan base in Africa, I guess.
This is true. This is 100% true. Massive fan base. Yes. And we love our Nigerian fans and our African Gooners as well. And then in the bottom right there, welcome, Ella. Now, I do believe this is also your debut on Highbury Squad.
It definitely is my Highbury Squad debut. First of all, thank you for having me on. It's very exciting.
Well, welcome. Absolutely lovely to have you, and welcome everyone in the chat as well. Let's kick this off. So basically what I've done is I prepared 5 questions and sent 5 questions to our 5 fans here so we can have a little bit of a discussion, and stay tuned until the end because we're going to do something fun and little segment I'm starting called Football Pet Peeves. We're going to find out what your pet peeves are and what the squaddies are as well. I'm sure that every single show I do, they'll have a pet peeve. All right, let's go to question number 1 here. It has been a busy summer, and I think Arsenal have done a great job in the transfer window. Ella, I'm going to kick it off with you. Who do you think is the player that will surprise the most in this transfer window?
So I had a bit of a think about this one, and I thought, you know what, maybe this is a little bit of recency bias after watching the Liverpool game. but I really think that Christian Mosquera might be one to keep an eye out for over the course of the season. Particularly, we know that you can't rely on two centre-backs for a full season. There's going to have to be some element of rotation, or one of the two gets injured, which is what we saw in the Liverpool game very early on. Saliba went off for Mosquera. And I think that he is going to prove to be a real intelligent piece of business. It was only £13 million, which I think when we look back in 10 years' time, hopefully that will be a really, really good buy. And he's still 21 years old, so he's really, really young, and he's got a lot of room to grow. I just think to come on at Anfield against Liverpool in such a high-pressured situation, from what we saw of him, I think it's really, really promising.
Yeah, he's definitely an exciting young player. Unflappable he was after like 5 minutes. It was really great. Ehis, how about you? Who do you think is going to be the surprise?
Well, I reckon with Ella, because that was my pick actually, Christian Mosquera. Seeing the way he performed at Anfield, despite Arteta saying at the press conference that he gave Mosquera his debut at Anfield, which was a big goof because he played in the Leeds game at the Emirates, which that equates to him giving him his debut. And coming onto the pitch and standing the Anfield crowd, the atmosphere, and being able to hold his own. First, he was shaking the first 5 minutes, but after that, he balanced out, everything evened out, and he was able to, partner Gabriel Magalhaes at the defense, and he was able to hold the fort for Saliba. But unfortunately, we took the L, and we were not able to take anything out of Anfield. But he's a player that I pick to be one of the most surprising transfer this season.
All right, Mosquera has a 2-0. Marky Mark, what say you?
I'm really sorry it's going to turn to be a really boring podcast. I'm going to say Mosquera.
If this was a game show, we'd be winning thousands right now.
I know. Well, we're certainly aligned. But yeah, no, sorry, boring answer. I would love to say Kepa, but no, Mosquera for sure. That would be left field. But yeah, Mosquera for sure. And just to build on what the other two guys have said, that I think we've really struggled with availability, and last season I think he started like 37 or out of 38 La Liga games. He can play centre back, he can play right back. As Ella says, fee. So I feel like we've got for his potential and just how good he looked. He just slotted in so well. I think when Saliba went down against Liverpool, we was all thinking, oh God, what's going to happen here? But I think Mosquera for sure for me. Sorry to be boring.
MK, are you going to make this 4 out of 4? What say you?
I was going to, and so now I feel like I have to mix it up. This is the obvious answer because of the need he fulfills and how well he performed at Anfield. But I'm going to go with the surprise part of this question and say that I think Madueke is actually going to surprise a lot of people, because people are like, oh, well, he's from Chelsea and we've been burned so many times. I'm still thinking about David Luiz's 5 red cards in that season, and it haunts me to this day. But I actually think that he's going to really allow us to be less reliant on our ideal starting 11, which has been a problem for us, overplaying, Saka, other players. And I think that we're going to be able to rely on him and others as well in those less pivotal games, especially when we have 3 games in a week. So I don't want to see Saka rushed out there for 3 games in a week. So my surprising transfer, Madueke, I think he's going to be one from Chelsea that actually works out.
Yeah, and he really, together with Anderson, was probably England's best player against Andorra if he made it to the end of that game and didn't have 40 winks and count sheep. Madueke definitely had a really good game, and I'm really rooting for him, and I have been from the beginning with this signing. I agree. I think he could be a trump card for us. Brett, what say you?
Well, first pick was Mosquera for all of the reasons that everybody else said. Second pick, I was going to pivot to Madueke as well. And I was even impressed with him for England the other night. I think he's actually looked like a good player and actually brings us some ingredients that we haven't got. And I think he'll actually play more on the left then I think on the right when Saka's back as well. So it gives us a little bit more variation, a little bit more of a different style, so we can actually adapt and play in different systems in different game states. So yeah, I'd say Mosquera because he was a bit unknown. Nobody really knows him. But he was actually the one I was most excited about when reading the data. I think he was, even before we kicked the ball, he was, for players under 23 in defence, he was actually top of most of the metrics in all the top 5 leagues in Europe. So I've been quite excited by him even before he kicked the ball, really, just because I wanted to see that. But against Liverpool at Anfield, to come on at 21 after 5 minutes, unprepared, took a few dodgy touches, like you guys said. But after that, he was great. He looks rapid. I don't know whether he's our quickest defender now, but he looks like he probably is.
Yeah, he definitely is. And it's nice to see Arsenal fans agreeing, a general consensus. Mosquera for sure. MK's gone to sign for a delivery. I bet it's a pizza. Don't lie that you've got an important work delivery. Okay, let's get to some juicy stuff here, because one of the biggest bones of contention for a lot of Gooners is how Gyokeres has played away from home. You could argue that playing away from home, you've got to be a little bit more conservative. I do think there was an overreaction to our tactics at Liverpool, them being the champions. But I do agree with a lot of Arsenal fans that, you know, we do need to kind of get a little bit more creative and unleash our creative players. Ella, will Gyokeres be, and by the way, the reason why I came up with this question is when you see Isak and Gyokeres play together for Sweden, and I was looking at some old footage, Isak kind of passing the ball through the lines right down the middle, Gyokeres sprinting onto it. We saw him do that, you know, for his club last season a lot. And then when I see Mikel Merino score a hat-trick for Spain, and you see Arsenal players kind of flourishing in Europe, you got to ask yourself, like, maybe those tactics do need a little bit of a second look. But Ella, what say you about Gyokeres? Hit or miss?
I think hit, to be honest. I think it's very, very early days, and I think there has been a slight overreaction from the fan base, particularly since Gyokeres didn't really have a proper pre-season. I don't even think he's like fully fit. He might be at 75% as of right now. And, you know, as we all know, football fans are very impatient, and as soon as players come to the Premier League, there's an expectation that they hit the ground running, which, to be honest, is still what we need. But I think we kind of need to nurture him a little bit at the beginning stages. But I think naturally, because we are a team that creates quite a lot of chances, and he is a proven goal scorer. We saw that last season, 52 games, 54 goals and 13 assists was his tally last season. So we know what he can do when he's in front of goal. There's no doubt there. I do think he is the answer, and I think as well when you look at last season and even the seasons before that, the last couple of seasons where Arsenal have actually struggled to get games over the line, or even where we've lost silly games, it hasn't been against these clubs like Manchester United or Liverpool. It's been against West Ham's, Bournemouth, these types of teams. So everyone that's kind of looking at our opening 3 fixtures and saying, well, Gyokeres scored against Leeds, he didn't score against United, or he didn't score against Liverpool. Well, we might need him to score in these types of games. And we have other goal scorers. We have so many players that will get their names on the team sheet. I just think this is a little bit of time, a bit of patience. I think he is going to be a hit.
Fair answer. Ehis, what do you think about Gyokeres and whether or not he'll make it in the Premier League?
Well, he has a history in the UK playing in the Championship, and his record wasn't that good. And when he went overseas abroad to the Portuguese league, we see his numbers. His numbers are great, and one of the most informed strikers in the last 2 seasons. And what baffles me about the Arsenal fan base is we know that the missing piece to Arsenal is that striking department. We need a goal poacher. And in the summer, Gyokeres and the other guy in Manchester United divided the opinion of the entire fan base. Sesko. A lot of people wanted Sesko. They felt it was going to fit into Arteta's tactics. And we all know what we need. Just to follow what Ella just said, we just need that poacher, that striker, that can bang in the goals against the lower teams. And that is what we've been missing. Putting Gyokeres in that 2022-2023 squad that we led the league for like 80% of it towards March, April, where we fell off, possibly would have won the league. And Man City wouldn't have been able to catch us up despite being 8 points up ahead. I feel Gyokeres will be a hit. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Arteta plays or brings up a tactic that will fit into Gyokeres' style of play. We see against Manchester United, Gyokeres wasn't found anywhere. Against Liverpool at Anfield, the same thing. Against Leeds, the goal he scored, he worked it out for himself. Lovely pass by Calafiori to see his run, pick up his run, and was able to, which we know that's his forte, take on the ball from the left wing and drive in to the box and hit it, which was a good goal. And also the penalty, scoring a penalty. I feel if Arteta play or come up with a good tactics that will fit into Gyokeres' style, he would definitely be a hit, in my own opinion.
Sophie, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. There's a lot of stuff going on at the house today, so I'm muting myself, which is probably welcome for the squaddies. I don't think any of you are going to disagree on this one, but let's whiz through these. Let's whiz through because I think all of you are going to say he'll be a hit. Marky Mark?
Yeah, I'll be quick on this one. Yeah, I do think he's going to be a hit. I think we need to relax. I remember a time where Des Bergkamp, Thierry Henry later time to score goals. I'd hate to think what it would have been like in that sort of generation if social media was around. He has scored 2 goals and he has scored 2 goals in 3 games. Yes, granted, like both the goals were against Leeds. However, you've got to understand also that he wouldn't have started these games if Havertz hadn't got injured, and I don't think the plan was to just throw him into the team. So usually, with players, you try and embed them in like slowly. But it's kind of for his first game to be away at Old Trafford and him getting dogs abuse as well, because obviously the whole him turning down United thing. He will be fine. He will come good. He's not going to put up the same numbers because the Premier League is a much stronger league than the Portuguese league, but we just need to give him time. And also I saw there's going to be a whole thing tomorrow because Paul Scholes quipped that he looks like he's playing football in jeans. So we're going to have that narrative tomorrow. And it's just nonsense. It's just, 2 goals in 3 games. I'm fine with that. He'll come good.
Okay, filed under one of my pet peeves. MK.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to the tactics, right? You have to give your center forward service. And when we play like this and the big horseshoe, playing it up the wing and passing it back because you're too conservative, your center forward is going to be left in no man's land. If he is not a hit, I don't think it will be down to him. I think that he has the capability and the physicality to succeed in the Premier League at the highest level. And I hope that he is a hit. And, but I am patient to see how we adapt tactics if we adapt tactics.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tactics, tactics have everything to do with setting up a team to succeed. And sometimes, players will play badly, but you set them up to succeed, not fail. Brett, where do you stand on Gyokeres?
Yeah, I think he'll be a hit. I think I'm kind of more concerned whether he will get frustrated by the fact that he makes so many runs during a game and doesn't get found by our players. But we do have to remember that it's only 3 games, and we've signed players to, I feel, to kind of complement him in attack, like Eza and Madueke, Zubimendi even. I think he's actually going to have kind of the bigger influence on us attacking quicker in transition. But it's only 3 games. They're all getting used to each other. And I think once they do, he'll score goals, especially at home games.
Yeah.
Like Ella said, against lower blocks, he will be the guy that ends up finding the net. And he's a different player. We're not used to having someone like him he's got a heavy touch. When against Leeds, I was sat in my seat at the Emirates, and first half he took a couple of touches, and I texted my friend and was like, wow. I was like, he needs to work on his technique. He's got a heavy touch. But then he went and did in the second half what he did with the first goal, and it's kind of like, okay, we just got to give him a chance. He's like a bull in a china shop. That's the kind of striker he is, and we need to get used to that.
Bit rough around the edges right now, but once he settles in, and to me, he feels like a traditional number 9. It's a little bit of am I having a brain fart? The Kevin Davies.
Yeah.
Physically, he reminds me of Kevin Davies from back in the day. All right. Well, this leads on good to question number 3, and this is where we may agree or disagree. Let's find out. Ella, you talked about Gyokeres. Everyone's talked about tactics, but is Mikel tactically adaptable? In that 22-23 season and 23-24, it was fire. I don't think I've had more fun watching the Arsenal play in years. Talk to me, Ella.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, particularly with this new striker that we have, which, let's be honest, we're not used to playing our football around a number 9. We're not. So I think this season is going to be very interesting. But I think Mikel Arteta is definitely quite a stubborn manager, and he likes to do things the way that he wants to. I mean, an example of that is often when it comes to substitutions, I'll just be screaming at the television that please just make a change. And then 10, 15 minutes later, you see the substitutions. But I think tactically he is adaptable, and I think we will see that. I think we already have seen that, so we know what Arteta is capable of doing. I think it is, to be honest, slightly dependent on having the squad that we now have and being able to really have a squad of players, not just an 11, but a squad where he can rotate, he can not have to rely on one player per position. So I think that's really going to come into play this season now that we have real quality. One of the best squads in the league, if not the best. But in answer to the question, I think he is adaptable. But to be honest, we are really going to have to wait and see.
Yeah. Ehis, what do you think about Mikel?
Well, the answer is no. In my own opinion, is no.
Okay, Mark, what about you? No.
I want to hear more from Ehis.
Let me just apply context. The Arteta we saw, the last time I was on the Highbury Squad show, we were talking about missing out on the Champions League. And it was painful, losing away to Newcastle, losing away to Tottenham, and missing out from the top 4, despite being 4 points ahead of Tottenham. It was a big blow. A lot of people wanted Arteta out. 2022-23 season, the signing of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, was what turned our game around. We became unpredictable. It took our game from a certain level to another level. We were blistering teams and nobody could stand us. Not until where we couldn't hold it because of the Saliba injury, Tomiyasu injury, and Rob Holding just couldn't help out in any way, shape, or form. We lost out. 23-24, we saw Arteta, reclining to being, I don't know if he had a scar based on that, what happened 2022-2023 season, 8 points ahead, and we losing out. And ever since then, he reclined, whereby he started playing this obsession over possession and position football and control football. In the history of football, we know no team, look at the history, the best teams in the world has never controlled the game for 90 minutes. It's give and take. It's who scores more, who has the better tactics, who has the better team or the better man management through the coach or through the players on the pitch that could take the team to the glory line. 2023-2024 season, Arteta reclined, and the changes we see are like for like, player for player. 24-25 season, I don't even want to go there because that's a disastrous season. Giving up, Liverpool winning the league, 6 or 7 games to go. I don't want to touch last season. And this season, we've seen it also repeat itself. Manchester United, at Old Trafford, against Liverpool at Anfield, waited up until 70 minutes. Martinelli offered nothing offensively. Didn't see the need why he started Martinelli in that game. And when he needed to make the change, it was still like for like. Now we're seeing Merino play in the Spanish squad. He's, scoring goals for fun, 4 goals in 2 games, if my stats serve me right. And Merino he looked so poor at Anfield. So it's all about the tactics. And I think Arteta, we need the Arteta of 2022-2023 season.
Yeah.
To come back and give us, that sort of
he's shown that he can do it. He's definitely shown that he can be that guy. Mark, what do you say about Mikel's adaptability?
I hope he can do it, because I was quite bored last season with football we was playing compared to the previous 2 seasons. I think he can be adaptable. Just touching on the Liverpool game again, I was disappointed in terms of the way we set up against Liverpool. I don't subscribe to the whole Sky Sports, we went there for a draw, we lost, blah blah blah. I don't think that's the case, but I think we could have been a bit braver. I think had Liverpool having shipped quite a few goals, we could have got them. We could probably gone at them a bit more. So, do I think he's adaptable? I think, as Ella touched on, I think this is definitely the season, because he kind of has to be, with the money that we've invested. I don't think he's really got a choice to not be adaptable to Gyokeres. I don't think the people above him would be too happy with the investment we've made if we're not adaptable. So that's how I see it. But I really do hope we change the style of football from last season, because at points it wasn't fun going, to be honest.
No, it wasn't. I think the Premier League in general last season was a total bore and a snore fest. And that's not taken away from Liverpool. They were the best team, put VAR and all the other bits and bobs aside. We lost 21 points from winning positions. We drew 14 games. I still think there was a lot of points to be won there. MK, what say you about Senor Arteta?
Well, we know I have a lot of opinions on Senor Arteta, but I will say that I think that I was clear in the chat, what was it, last week, where I was like, how many times are we going to have the same conversations about this man and his stubbornness, his inability to pivot on the fly, his lack of rotation? A lot of this stuff has been a problem for years. Now he's going to have to adapt. And I think that what's going to be different this year is I think there's more pressure on him. I think he's kind of grown comfortable in this role. I don't think he's ever felt like his job was under a threat. The club has been very supportive. He's kind of been like the face of the team. I don't see Arteta's face anywhere on my shirt. Look, I want my manager to be successful, but at the end of the day, it's my club first before any individual. And the cult of personality surrounding him, the toxicity between fans one way or the other. I'm not saying I'm Arteta out. I'm saying Arteta, change your tactics and prove me wrong. Prove all of your naysayers wrong. Keep your job. Bring us silverware. That's it.
Brett, how about you?
Yeah, I think he's adaptable. I think he's shown over the years. We started out playing 5 at the back when he first took over. Then when he got the defensive stability in place, we changed it to the 4-3-3. So I think he can do it. I think, and now he's got all the tools in the toolbox to, like I said earlier on, play in different game states. So I think we will play a little bit more conservative away to Manchester City, away to Liverpool at Anfield. But also we've shown the different profiles that we've signed this summer that we will be more direct and better in transition when we're at home playing against lower blocks. So everyone's talked about the season we were unbelievable and really exciting to watch. But the difference between that and the last couple of seasons is we were the surprise package that start of the season. No one respected us. No one expected it. No one played with a low block. The fact that we pushed City so close that season, the following seasons after that, everyone's just come, played a low block. That's how you nullify Arsenal. And it's only been really since this season that we've actually got the squad to deal with the injuries, different profiles of player, again in attack. I can't wait to see Havertz playing off of Gyokeres as well, because I want to see that happen a bit more. So I think he hasn't got any excuses this season, but I do give him a little bit of leeway over the last couple of seasons, because I do think injuries made a massive difference last season. That was a horrendous injury record, and Liverpool won the league. And I think they reduced their injuries by 63% from the season before, which just shows you how important availability is among squads. So they actually had a pretty poor season the season before that. Jamie Carragher mentions it all the time. But now, last season when we had injuries, obviously, that wasn't mentioned at all. So, funny that.
Havertz and Gyokeres up front, maybe a 4-4-2. Maybe David Hillier was absolutely right about the 4-4-2 making a comeback. All right, let's riff off this a little bit, Ella, and talk about outgrowing. We talk about Zinchenko, Reece Nelson, Emil Smith-Rowe, players the team outgrowing players. There's a lot of rhetoric about Mikel. Do you think that Arsenal is outgrowing him in some ways, or is it just, is this all a little bit of an overreaction?
Well, it definitely is something that I think we need to ask ourselves. Let's not forget that this is his first ever managerial job. So, he he is essentially kind of learning on the job, which is a bit tricky. And, he doesn't necessarily know what it's like to win big trophies. He doesn't. So he's really figuring it out as he's going along here. And, with my fan hat on, I am a big fan of what Arteta has done at the club. And I think you look at where the club was 6-7 years ago, and it was pretty dark times. I think on and off the pitch, he's made real strides within the club. But obviously, it all comes back down to silverware, which, let's not beat around the bush. That is what football is about. You want to win things, and that is what defines success. So he is under a lot of pressure here, and we can't definitively say that he is going to be the man for the job. But with the team that he has now, and where he has gotten to over the last couple of seasons, we are seeing growth and we are seeing progression in the Champions League. Yes, finishing second in the last couple of seasons, there hasn't been a lot of progress, and some could say we actually have gone backwards last season. But I do think it's really important, not just within the Premier League and the Champions League this season, but also in those other competitions, which I think have been really poor. The FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, having gone out in like third, fourth rounds in the last couple of seasons, that is not good enough for a club like Arsenal, particularly the FA Cup, which is our competition. Those trophies, I think you've got to be competing for those. Even Ten Hag was lifting FA Cups, and look at what a tricky position United have been over the last couple of seasons. So this is probably a make or break season.
Fair enough. And Ten Hag ridiculed, but he did win a couple of trophies. And at the end of the day, I think that Ehis, there was a rumor that Josh Kroenke had met with Mikel. I don't know if this is true or not. It made a lot of headlines as well. Do you think he should be under pressure? What's your take on whether or not Arsenal have outgrown him now?
To a certain degree, because if you look at when he started, and yes, I'm going to toe the line of MK. I'm neither Arteta out or Arteta in. So Arsenal takes precedence any day, anytime, because I'm a big fan. And I know a lot of excuses has come for Arteta. A lot of people put in excuses just to back Arteta up. And what I hear is him switching his tactics to fit a number 9, a proper gun man. It's quite strange. I've been watching football from the early noughties, and the striking position is a very vital position in any team. And any manager out there who doesn't put up his tactics to suit a number 9 should be asked questions. Yes, I know a lot of tactics has changed. Pep Guardiola bringing in his different tactics, trying to play around, false 9 and all the likes. But we're Arsenal. I'm starved of a major trophy. EPL. The last time I saw Arsenal lifting the EPL I was very young. And we get bantered. Rival fans banter us. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea are not great, but they're winning titles. Club World Cup champions, Champions League. The season they won the Champions League. The 2 seasons they won the Champions League. They were not good. Their league form wasn't good either. Possibly Arteta's lot could have changed if after he won the FA Cup, the season after, getting into the semi-final of the Europa League, if you had won Europa League, possibly the pressure won't be this much. But, picking and choosing competitions where you need to be serious with, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, not taking it serious, and we losing out in the first round, second round, and not even getting anywhere in the Carabao Cup. I think the team is outgrowing Arteta. Yes, it's outgrowing Arteta. And I heard someone say, we're playing Aram football. I hope everybody on the panel understand what Aram football is. What Arteta right now is a dark form of dark arts. And there's a certain manager that played Aram football where we all criticized in Jose Mourinho and won 29 titles. Mikel Arteta, we need the title. We need it. We need titles to be won. And this season is a make or mar season for him. And we all know the pressure is on. If he doesn't win, Who knows? The meeting with Judge Kroenke, there is no credible source to back it up, but it's ideal. Conversations happen beginning of the season. Serious conversation happen. Football is a big business. And I like the pressure that is being put on Arteta, and he has to just deliver the trophy. Come May
Yeah,
2026.
I think Andrea Berta coming in too was a pressure move as well, because the investment that Arsenal have made is, you know, huge. And when you look at our net spend as well, we're top of that tree. So, and I think I'm not saying the Cronkies don't have the balls to fire Arteta, but I think maybe bringing Andrea Berta in is the guy that you just have do that job anyway. But you can't be in a position where you drop out of the top four. You can't be in a position where, you know, the League Cup against Newcastle, somebody had brought that up. That was so disappointing last season, both legs. It was highly disappointing. And, you know, hopefully you will be much more competitive in the domestic cups as well. But Arsenal's ambition as a football club is willing to sacrifice the domestic trophies in order to win the Premier League or the Champions League. Mark, what say you?
What say me? Do you know what? I just feel like it wasn't that long. We've been podcasting for a long time, so that we were sat here talking about, you know, whether, you know, we'll do all right in the Europa League or can we get top four, and we're now at a place where last season we came second again. I know it's become an on-running thing to get second again. Got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. I feel that we don't have an eternal right to be winning trophies every season. It would be nice. Like, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love Arsenal to win the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Champions League, the Premier League. It'd be amazing. But football's moved on since, like, we did last win the Premier League. The investment which involved the, I think there is so many more teams that can win the league now, as rather than before, when it'd be like, it'd be United or Arsenal. Or, you know, say sometimes you like United or Chelsea, maybe near like to the early 2000s. And I think football's moved on. But I've always wanted, and I think I'd be hypocrite to be like, Arteta out. If because before I'd be saying like, look, as long as we're competing, I'm happy with that. There are two teams on paper who are bigger than us. United and Liverpool are bigger teams than us, if you like it or not. And I don't think you can look at an end of the season and be like, right, you've got your champions and the 19 teams below them are failures. I just don't think football works like that. But to caveat this, yes, I would love Arsenal to win the league. We've come second 3 times in a row. Can he get us over the line? I hope so. But I think he's earned that time. He's dug. I feel like we've come so far since he's become manager. And yeah, he is. Ella's correct. Like he's learned the job, but I think he's done really, really well. I would like to see him adapt a little bit more and change his tactics and be a bit more pleasant on the eye. The football we do play, but the fact we're now competing every season now for all the major trophies. Like, I think it's good. It's a good time to be an Arsenal fan. Look at our squad. Look at the squad we put together. We've got depth in nearly every single position. Look at the squad that he had when he joined. There are other teams that spend so much money, millions and millions and millions of pounds, and they make the wrong investments. And what happens with these teams? They get rid of the manager, a new manager comes in, and it's an eternal cycle. These teams, Chelsea aside, like, they don't tend to win a lot. These teams that get rid of their manager all the time. Consistency can sometimes be key. So I think he's earned the right to put a bit of respect on his name, I think.
Yeah. A couple of things. 6 years into my job, if I've been given a head of department job and I'm not delivering results, I'm out. Right? I get it. Arsenal just operate differently. They're not a sacking side, right? And at some point, you know, we've gone process. The squaddies know my phrase here. Process, we've done. Progress, we've done. Now success. That is it for me. Now, that's not to say that I want Mikel fired. And people, the first question is, well, who are you going to get in? Well, really, did Liverpool fans think that it would go so well for them as soon as Klopp got fired and a legend left the club? They found Arne Slot. You know, Luis Enrique started off poorly at PSG, ended up delivering the Holy Grail and the Champions League to them. Probably an underrated manager, if I can even say that out loud, because he won the treble at Barcelona. MK, what say you regarding growth for Mikel and the club?
Well, I think, you do have to acknowledge where we were, with Mustafi and David Luiz, just bottling it week in, week out.
I should never have deleted those pictures.
Waking up at 7 a.m. to watch Mustafi like fall on his face. I have never seen a defender fall down as much as Mustafi. I know there was Gus Caesar in the 90s. That was before my time, but that man was dreadful at football. Absolutely robbed us. So, you do have to give Arteta credit to turning things around. But I'm going to borrow as, the lone Yankee on this panel here and borrow from American baseball. So as you know, Sophie, I'm a huge New York Yankees fan.
Yes, you are.
Before they went on that iconic run that I grew up with in the late 90s, you had Buck Showalter, who was the manager that put this really impressive team together. And then Joe Torre took it across the line. Both of those men are in the Hall of Fame. My point is sometimes you have to look at things as a transition period. And for me, I see Arteta as a transitional manager, and I think he's done great at that job. But now I think we need someone that's going to take us over the line. And if he does not do it this year, I'm done with the excuses. I'm done. If he does not deliver it this year, I think he has to go. That's my thoughts.
Fair enough. Concise and to the point. Mr. Leverton, have your say in our football democracy.
I love Arteta. I'm not going to lie. So he's brought everything, like going to games is good again. The atmosphere is great at the Emirates. It's all down to him and kind of unifying the fan base after the Mustafi era and the latter Wenger years where, everyone talks now about us wanting to play attacking football. We used to play attacking football and get slapped at Chelsea, slapped at Anfield every week. That we played them. So we've got short-term memories. Like everybody's just said that we want to win trophies. Arteta won the FA Cup, and then people forget about it. Nobody talks about it because it was 5 years ago. So we do need to kind of balance this out a little bit. I do think he's under pressure this season, not because of not winning the league, but because he has actually no excuses this season. But I would probably only replace him if I actually could select his replacement. So I actually
do you have someone in mind?
I wanted Enrique after Arsene left. So
yeah,
I would stick with that. But I don't fully trust the club, if I'm honest, on replacing him either. So I don't think we've had like a long enough period of seeing what they would do and bring in. And even with Berta, I don't think he was responsible for hiring Simeone. Let's go. So I don't know what his track record was like at hiring new managers. So, and by the way, the meeting with Kroenkes, Arteta has said in previous press conferences, they meet once a quarter.
They do. Sometimes it happens watching hockey in Colorado, and sometimes it happens in London. But they say, listen, if I'm a owner of Arsenal and I've won every championship there is to win now in the United States, and I've given you almost $1 billion to spend, I want results.
Sure.
I want something shiny. I want a parade.
But do you think anyone wants to win more than Arteta?
No, I don't. I actually said this. We were having this conversation with Rebecca Lowe and with Henry Winter. Henry Winter actually almost told me off because he goes, do you not think he puts all the stress on himself? Do you not think he wants to win? And it's true. I mean, I don't think there is anybody at the club that wants to win more than him. I think you're 100% right.
He can't get out of his own way, though. He's stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has the self-awareness of where he needs to improve. Like, I'm just talking about like an interpersonal level. Like, I think there's an arrogance to him. And in order to grow and to become the best version of yourself to manage as possible, you have to learn self-awareness. And I just see constant deflection in press conferences, passing the buck. Not always, but a lot of it. And to me, that's kind of a red flag. I'm like, can that person be adaptive? Do they have adaptive thinking and self-awareness? I don't know.
Can I
you definitely want your... Yeah, go on, Brett.
Every single fan of every other rival club would absolutely be happy if we sacked Arteta.
I agree with that. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Tom Canton was talking about that on our show last Monday. There's nothing more they would love for us to get rid of Mikel Arteta. And
they'd be as happy with that as I was when Spurs sacked Pochettino.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most difficult period for us against Tottenham under Pochettino. Not doing so well with the US men's national team right now, but I want to. Question number.
Okay.
Go on, Ehis, real quick.
I just wanted to ask the panel, the press conference, the game before the press conference ahead of the Manchester United Arsenal game, the first game of the season. Arteta made a statement where he said Arsenal has been the best team across 3 seasons, looking at the points accrued. Which, if we fact checked it, because I fact checked it, and it was false. Manchester City are the best team, looking at team points accrued over the past 3 seasons. So the question I want to ask, why do people just give Arteta that free pass without questioning? Because that in itself, it's not correct.
Well, are you talking about the media? Because we can't correct him. Only the media in the room could follow up with questions and challenge him on that. I mean, what he said after the PSG game was silly, but this is why sometimes I know the media get a tough time, but Tom Canton was the only one after the Liverpool game that actually had the balls to say, you know, do you think you're playing a bit too conservative? And you could tell, you know, he didn't like the question. He answered it, but he didn't like the question too much.
That's the arrogance.
Mm-hmm. But every manager is arrogant.
Degree, sure,
right?
Absolutely.
And you've got to be a bit of a megalomaniac and a crazy mofo to be a manager. It's like, who's crazier, the manager or the goalkeeper? Probably the goalkeeper, but the manager needs to be a bit more. Yeah. I want to get your take on question number 5. I'm going to twist it a little bit because this conversation about Mikel is really good. So my question number 5 for these guys was going to be, should more ex-players be involved in and around the club? How about we twist it a little bit? And I ask you, Ella, let's say Mikel, whether it's now or in a few years' time after he's won a double or the Premier League, would you like the next manager of Arsenal to be an ex-player again? Or do you just want the best manager available, or do you want to find an Arnie Slot? What would be your take on that?
Well, of course, I want Arsenal to get the best possible manager. There's already murmurs of, oh, well, you know, if Arteta gets sacked, let's bring in Cesc Fabregas. No, I really don't think that's a good idea. We're basically doing exactly what we did with Arteta, hiring a manager who has little to no managerial experience. If we're sacking Arteta, then what we're saying by doing that is we need to then hire a winner. We need to hire the winner, someone who has won league titles, won Champions Leagues. That's what we have to then go for. And if we don't, then what's the point in sacking Arteta? So it has to be someone that has already been doing it consistently for multiple clubs. It has to be. So in answer to your question, no, because I can't think of any ex-Arsenal player I would want to give the Arsenal job to at the moment. And Cesc is the only one that really comes to mind, and I just think that is not the right move at all.
Yeah. Ehis, real quick, what's your take on an ex-player, or what would you... We're talking hypotheticals here right now. No one here is saying Arteta out. I'm asking the question because I'm curious, because the first thing people ask me is, well, who are you going to get? Ehis.
Well, I don't want any ex-player, because looking at the history of Arsenal, no ex-player has gone out there to win trophies or be successful. And with all due respect, the ones that have gone to become managers, we know how it ended. At least we witnessed one before Arteta came in, Freddie Ljungberg, when he took over. After Emery left, it wasn't a good show. So I told the line of Ella, I don't want any. Let's get a manager that has been there, that has done it, and has won trophies. Because right now, like I said earlier in the show, I'm starved as an Arsenal fan. I'm starved of the big trophies, the major titles. We've gotten to that point in time where we need to start winning. And title, they say, is the currency in football. So we need to start winning. I don't want any ex-player, please. Let's get a seasoned manager, a winner, someone that has done it in other clubs, that have tasted victory, that has tasted success. That is who I would want in the Arsenal Football Club.
Okay. Marky Mark, there's a lot of Bergkamp. Bergkamp's too busy having fun. Lots of Luis Enrique going, lots of Fabregas going as well. And Oliver Glasner is the one that is the curveball that's been coming up. But what do you say, Marky Mark?
Yeah, no ex-players spring to mind. I don't think brilliant ex-players always mean good managers. You look at you've got one hand Alan Shearer, you've got one hand Zinedine Zidane. So those are your polar opposites there. But it does feel kind of odd talking about a manager after Arteta, because I feel, like I said, I feel he's doing a good job. So I haven't really thought too much about it. But as for your Enrique's and your Glasners, you just don't know. You just don't know how Enrique coming from a different league. You don't know how they're going to adapt to the Premier League. Glasner, it could be the next Graham Potter. You just don't know. You just don't know. So I know you hate that question. So like, well, who would you get in? Like, not to be rhetorical, but I just don't know who. Like, if Arteta, let's say for example, Arteta left tomorrow or got sacked tomorrow, I wouldn't know who. I'd be like, right, who is my number one guy? If I could choose any manager in the world, who would I have in? Because there isn't that one outstanding manager, unless I'm being like naive, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Who do you guys think? If you could pick any manager, who would you have in tomorrow? I don't know.
I mean,
I like
now
the Zidane chatter. Whoever said that.
I don't think Zidane is. I think like Ancelotti, Zidane is like needs. It's like LeBron going to Miami. He needs the stars around him, right? And I don't think they care for the nurturing part of it. I think Arsenal Football Club's a little bit different than their style. Luis Enrique to me seems a little bit more like that. Maybe it's because of the Barcelona background and stuff. But MK, what would your response to this be?
Obviously, both of us being in Los Angeles, you obviously worked many years in the entertainment industry. We've all heard the term Nepo baby, right? I don't want Nepo babies at my football club either. So, I don't know that there's an equivalent word for that when you bring in these players, but it's like, it feels like a branding move to me. It doesn't really feel like it's grounded in anything other than like, here, come to Los Angeles and, try to get your shirt signed by this player who's now our manager. And it's just like, what are we doing? This feels deeply unserious. Obviously Arteta trained under Pep. I'm not saying this to smear his name in any way, but I just think that this idea of like, everything has to be within the Arsenal family. Look, you can bring them on tour with you. You can have like, back to baseball, an old timers day, bring them all out, have them kick a ball around the pitch for charity or something, but they don't need to manage this club. There's plenty of people out there.
Yeah, I do. I think you just have to, there's a lot of talent out there. And like someone said in the chat, nobody knew who Wenger was when he came from Grampus 8. Brett, what say you?
Yeah, I don't think there's a prerequisite that, wanting to have an old player back. If Cesc ends up having a career that everybody seems to think he's going to have, like a lot of the ex-pros are kind of talking about him. And actually, I've actually really enjoyed him as a pundit when he's been on games. So he does talk a lot of sense and seem to know his stuff. But no, I'd like I said, if you say to me Arteta's going to leave, I only really want Enrique in. If we're going to go really all out to win trophies, obviously we're not going to get Pep, so that's pretty unrealistic. Enrique is probably the only one that I think balances that winning mentality with a good style of play that actually suits us. And I think we either go all out for that or stick.
You know what else would be one of the biggest shockers, probably a bigger shock than George Graham going to Tottenham, is I would love Josh Kroenke to just put a check in front of Jurgen Klopp and say, how much do you want to come and manage the Arsenal? And aren't you bored fishing already? You should really come and join the Arsenal. Right. It's time for the quick fire round, kids. Let's rock and roll with this first one. I just want you guys to give your predictions for the next 3 games. Ella, they're big ones. We have got some mega matches coming up, starting off with Nottingham Forest a week later. A few days later, it's Manchester City at home. And then we go up to what has become a little bit of a bogey ground for us, Newcastle United. What are you saying, Ella? Did you just pull a cat? Was that?
Yes, she likes to be part of the center of the so.
I love it. Ella, you have the floor. And this
Exact
is quick
score
fire.
predictions,
Quick
right?
fire, right? Yeah, quick fire. You can say a
Okay.
little bit, but it's quick fire.
Sure. Well, I've gone Forest at home 2-0. I'd like to see clean sheet, controlled performance against Forest. I think that should be hopefully a pretty standard game. City at home is definitely going to be tricky. I've gone 3-1, but I just think City, they can be got at the moment. I think they're always going to be a difficult team, but with what we've got as a Gyokeres link up, I'm crossing my fingers. Newcastle away, I have gone 2-2. It's a bogey ground. It's probably our least favourite game of the season because we just can't seem to get a result there. For that reason, I can't really predict an Arsenal win because I can't remember the last time I saw one there.
Fair enough. Ehis, what say you?
Nottingham Forest 3-0. Man City 2-1 for winning. Newcastle 2-2.
Whoa, there's some good points in the bag there from Ehis. Marky Mark, are you as optimistic?
Not quite as optimistic. So I've gone 1-0 to Arsenal against Forest. I don't think you can look at the previous game against West Ham. I think that was just a weird game. That'd be tough to break down. I rate Forest. I think that'd be tough to break down. So 1-0 to Arsenal. I'm gonna go with 2-2 against City. And I'm going to go for 1-0 against Newcastle. I think we're finding a break. We're going to go up and win. Why not?
God, I want to beat them so bad. I'm almost starting to hate them as much as I do United and Tottenham. Well, maybe I do. MK.
Yep. So I think the Forest is pretty much like a shambles right now. So I think
the Greek. Marinakis. He's just, this is what he does.
3-1 Arsenal. And I think City, I think it's going to be a sweaty football match, just probably going to wind up a 1-1, 1-1 situation. And I think going away to Newcastle, I'm gonna be optimistic because I will be traveling for that match. I'll be joining the Boise Gooners for that. And so I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal with a late goal.
Love
or
that.
1-2 if we're doing it in order.
See, Arsenal fans can be on panels and not screech and, go ballistic and be optimistic. Brett, Are you going to put the icing on the optimistic cake here?
I am going to be optimistic, but I'm going to go 1-0 against Forest. Early kickoff, horrible. So I think it'll be 1-0. City 3-1, win. And Newcastle 2-1, we'll win.
All right, I like it. Okay, we're going to end on something fun. And by the way, there's a new article up on highburysquad.com on the blog. Please go check it out. Patrick's written a match report on the Arsenal women versus London City Lionesses, Olivia Smith. And there's an article coming out on Olivia Smith as well to follow up on this. It's really cool. And we posted one up on the site just at the weekend on Hayland. But if you missed Olivia Smith and her debut, go see her banger. It was absolutely unbelievable. And please check out the video section for Albert JTV's post-match report from directly from the Emirates as well. So good stuff there. Go catch up on all of that stuff. And we are going to finish on... because I'm running out of time here, and I do want you guys really quickly just to let everyone know, because some of you are just on the show for the first time. Real quick, Olivia, who's your favorite ever Arsenal player? Ella.
Oh, sorry.
I was just talking about Olivia Smith, and I was asking Olivia Smith to tell me who her favorite Arsenal player was.
I was like, am I missing something?
Yeah, no, you weren't. I'm missing something. It's called a screw. Go on.
Santi Cazorla.
Good choice. Ehis?
Thierry Henry.
Marky Mark?
Mr. Arsenal, Tony Adams.
Ooh, nice. Controversial these days. MK?
Thierry Henry.
Mais oui. Brett?
Thierry Henry, easy.
What a god. The king himself. Right, we're going to end on something fun, you guys, in our quick fire round. There's a lot to love about football, and there's a lot to be annoyed about football these days. So we're going to start a new segment, and we'll chop it up and put it out as well as we get more of these in. Let us know, squaddies, what you think, and in the YouTube comments as well. Elle, I'm going to start with you. Your football pet peeve.
This might be quite a basic one, but it really, really irritates me. Diving diving on the football pitch. And to be honest, that is quite exclusive to the men's game. As you mentioned, the WSL, you don't actually tend to see a lot of women diving on the pitch, but the men, every single game is very annoying.
I totally agree with you. And we even see this at international level and tournaments as well. Good one. Diving. It's pathetic. Neymar. Oh my God. He would win the Academy Award for diving. Ehis, what say you?
I have several. VAR coming into football. And
VAR.
Yeah, and how it has dealt with Arsenal. 3 seasons, forgetting to draw the line against Brentford at the Emirates. Against Aston Villa, I celebrated that Havertz goal. No, I celebrated that Merino's goal already because it was the dying embers of the game, and VAR chopping the goal up. Aston Villa at the Villa Park, Nketiah's goal, despite the ball touching Matakashi's hand and also touching Havertz's hand, it was ruled off. It's so annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's unfortunate.
VAR.
Arsenal, yeah, VAR. Arsenal has fallen
VAR.
on the wrong part of VAR, so it's so annoying.
I hear you. It's going to be a long season for sure. Mark, what's your pet peeve?
So if I've got two, I'll be really, really quick. First one is combined 11s before big games. Hate them. Yuck, rubbish. Don't care. Apologies if you do.
I love that one.
Oh, you do? Oh, God.
No,
what,
I love that it's your pet peeve.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I won't come back. Second one is 12:30 kickoffs. I've been starved of football. It's come back into lull, international football, but I have to wait even more and I have to get up early on a Saturday morning to go watch Arsenal. I'm very lucky to go, but 12:30 games generally quite rubbish atmosphere-wise, and you guys in America are so committed, can get up even earlier, so salute you guys.
Yeah, I like it very much so. MK, what's your biggest pet peeve in football?
The PGMOL, not even close. I mean, these people are absolute crooks. I mean, you look at some of the other top leagues in Europe, and they have officials that are subject to much more stringent oversight and review. The fact that so many of these people are also from Greater Manchester with an absolute bias against our club that has showed time and time again, including the end of our Invincibles run. These people have zero accountability, and they will always be my pet peeve. I will always complain about them. It's a mafia.
I like it. I think that's the one thing most Arsenal fans and opposing fans can agree on. Brett, what is your pet peeve?
I've got two as well, but I'll be really quick. Time wasting, and I think we're guilty of it a lot as well. I hate it, especially when I'm at games. It's just annoying. And media narratives and over-sensationalizing stuff that's just not true. So this weekend after the Liverpool game kind of brought it all to fruition for me. I was like, I can't believe we're getting painted as the away team as the more negative side here just because we've lost. Liverpool were just as negative, if not more, than us. And we came out of that with the media bias and narrative really pushing us to the defensive and negative side. Schmeichel making his comments, Carragher, Neville throughout the whole game. And then I watched the overlap fan debate, and Paul Scholes is saying that Arteta never had a statement win in his life. So apparently beating Man City 5-0 is something that happens every week. So, yeah, I think certain pundits can get in the bin, if I'm honest.
Was it 5-0 or 5-1?
Was it 5-1? Anyway. Either or. I think it's a statement win. Yeah,
and this too, Schmeichel, I mean, it was ridiculous what he said as well. I mean, come on. If you're an Italian team and you did what we did, it's genius. All right, we're going to end it there, everyone. Well done. A round of applause to everybody. You did an absolutely amazing job. And here's where you can find everybody. Okay, guys, please go give these guys a follow. They're awesome human beings, and they smashed it today on Highbury Squad. You can follow Mark at Marky249. This is where you can follow MK. Please go give them a follow. This is where you can follow Ella. And this is where you can follow Brett. Ehis isn't really on X, but I will share his when I repost the show. Really quick, Ella, where can everyone find you in terms of not only what are you doing next? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of squaddies who want to come and follow your work.
Well, you're going to have to keep an eye out on AFTV over the coming season.
Oh my God, she said it out loud.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Might be controversial, but that is where you'll find me. And the I posted is my Instagram as well.
Okay, lovely. And Brett, what's your podcast? I know the others don't have one, but let everyone know so they can sign up.
The Clock End podcast. So if you follow me on X, I've got a link in my bio to the Clock End podcast.
Okay, brilliant. And we'll put it all in the description of the show as well. You guys absolutely smashed it. Very proud of you guys. Brilliant show. Thank you so much for hanging out. Squaddies, thank you so much. For those listening on our audio platforms, please make sure you subscribe. Please listen to our Chief Like Officer and hit the like button. I love this show. I love this show too. And I think we'll be doing a few more with these guys as well. They're all welcome back to Squad Central. Look out on the community page for our next live show. Until then, Squaddies, don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them at ease. At ease.
Thanks for having me.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.